Welcome to another episode of The Deep Dig. We're still in Matthew at Matthew 5 or 4:5, where Jesus is being tempted by the devil for the second time. And it says here that then the devil led Jesus to the holy city of Jerusalem and put him on a high place of the temple. The devil said, "If you are the Son of God, jump down, because it is written in the scriptures, He has put His angels in charge of you. They will catch you in their hands, so that you will not hit your foot on a rock." Jesus answered him, "It also says in the scriptures, do not test the Lord your God."
So the first thing I notice about this is the devil is using scripture to tempt Jesus. That's Psalms 91:11 that he's using. It's right here. So the devil is using the Bible to tempt Jesus. Now I'll get to that later, but there's a few points I want to make before I get into that. First, I want to dissect this verse from Psalms. The first part, 11, says, "He has put His angels in charge of you to watch over you wherever you go."
And there's evidence of that all over the Bible. This is Matthew 4:11. At the end of Jesus being tempted, the angels came and took care of him. Hebrews 1:14, all the angels are spirits who serve God and are sent to help those who will receive salvation. Here are a few more examples of that. And so now let's look at Jesus' response. He says, it also says in the scriptures, do not test the Lord your God. And I just kind of want to know why. Why can't we test God? There are a few reasons. The first, probably most obvious one, is faith, that you're asking God to prove Himself. But it goes a little deeper than that. If you threaten God like that, like Jesus is, I'm going to jump off this building and you're going to save me, God, that's coercing God into doing something. That's an evil thing to do if you did that to anyone. Because remember, these lessons aren't for God and Jesus. These lessons, these temptations that Jesus overcome are for you and I. And so we shouldn't be doing this to anybody. So if Jesus would have jumped, listened to the devil and jumped, He would have died. The other alternative is that Jesus would have been controlling God. And that's not how it works. And like I said, these aren't examples for Jesus and God. They're for me and you. We can't control God. And this is why, because all this is about free will. Because if Jesus had jumped and God had saved him, like stopped him from falling, moved him to the ground safely, He's taking away free will. God has given you free will to do whatever you want. If Jesus wanted to jump off that building, He could have. And He would have died because of the reasons that I just mentioned. If Jesus had slipped off accidentally, I think that God would have saved him, protected him, because that wasn't Jesus' free will to slip and fall off accidentally. Which brings us to what the devil said in Psalms about his angels protecting us. So it says in the scriptures, do not test the Lord your God, because in this case you would die. Or, in a less severe case, God will not be there because you have free will. Now let's go back to the devil using scripture to tempt Jesus. And this is going to be hard to hear for some people, but it is the truth, and it is what happened. The devil knows the Bible inside and out. He was an angel, fallen angel, and he used the scripture to tempt Jesus into basically killing himself. And so the lesson you should learn from this is to not only read the Bible, but you have to understand it. This is something I learned right now while I was doing this, because I've read through the Bible about 4 times, from the front to the back. But I've spent a couple months just going through Matthew. I'm only on Matthew 4, and I've learned so much, including this. So we have to be cautious, because sometimes the devil uses scripture to tempt us. So these are the things that I've noticed while reading through Jesus' second temptation. I'm doing this without my notes. Hopefully I didn't miss anything. But, like I said, I'm not a preacher. These are just things I've noticed while reading. I wanted to share with you guys. I hope that you learned something, or I hope I provoked a thought process. If you could, like and subscribe, and stay frosty, because we know the devil is cunning, and apparently he even uses the Bible to trick us.